Hey, how's it going, guys? Ancient Rune here, back with another Borderlands 3 build video, and today I'll be going over my multi-purpose gun build named Do It All Zane. This build allows you to do most types of gun setups and action skills without changing your skill tree. There's regular gun, crit, eraser, and status effect builds you can do alongside using action skills of clone, barrier, or drone in these builds alongside of the regular mantis. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The save file will be found in my Discord, which is linked down below, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, and for the gear here, we have a lot of options. Here, you can basically use any gun that's good on Zane in this build. Any type of build type, hustler, any splash guns are really good. If you just look up like any of my build videos for guns, you can throw that on here and it'll work pretty well. Here are some of the main ones I like to use. The Free Radical, of course, is a really good single target gun. I also really like to use the Herald. It's great for mobbing. And then we have the Yellow Cake. We go splash on this as well. This one I like to use for the Hustler with Eraser, and Creamer does great with it. Shrieking Devil. Here I have an uncapped Herald with the Elemental Crit Status Effect Anointment. This is for status effect setup. Herald's just really good with it, so I like to use that for mobbing, and does some great rad explosions with the radiation version. And then I have a crit with a barrier crit. This is for just throwing on barrier. I also like having it with redistributor, as barrier plus redistributor is a popular and pretty good combo. And just adding that barrier crit with the crit damage is pretty nice. Then we have a couple shields here. We have an Old Guide. This is good for status effect damage because it'll double dip the elemental damage as well as hustler builds. But we also have a red suit with amp. You could use an Infernal Wish as well for hustler builds, but the red suit goes really well with the Yellow Cake for that radiation ability. Then we have the Revolter for the bonus shock damage, which is used for most of the gun stuff because it's just really good, and the fire rate is also amazing. And then for the grenade, you want to use either an It's Piss or Mesmer. I don't have any Mesmers on here, but ASC Radiation is really good for rad explosions. And then you can also get Terror here with AC Terror on a shield to have some good Terror V1. I mainly like to use that on Dot setup and Hustler. And then we have basically every good class mob besides Conductor, because I don't really like it on gun builds. Antifreeze, Executor, Infiltrator, Spy, Seeing Dead, and Hustler. Stuff you want to look out for: Splash Radius is great just for hollow point and red explosions. Weapon type damage, crit damage, manufacturer crit, splash is all really good. Look out for anything that'll help your guns is what you want. For Executor, any skill points will work. For Antifreeze, you'll want to go points of violent momentum. Infiltrator, you want to go violent momentum. Spy, commitment, Armin Flint, or Headsman's Hand is also really good. This and Executor are like any skill points. Same with Hustler. Seeing Dead's alright, but don't really need it on this build. If you find a good one with good passives, it's nice, but any skills will work on this. But it doesn't really give much damage. Executor is great for crit stuff. I like to throw it with barrier crit, just to throw on a bunch of crit and do some one shots with crit spots. And then we have Hustler here. I have a 65 one just because, but you'd want it 72. Brain Freeze points is really good for this, just for freezing enemies. The Hustler is good for the Hustler Racer stuff, and then also status effects. So we can combine that Armin Flint with critting, also having the elemental crit status effect. So Hustler is wanted for that. Brain Freeze will be good for Icebreaker, which is good for status effect stuff. I like Icebreaker as just the general stuff, but we also have the Company Man, Snowdrift, and Toboggan. Toboggan's good for launcher stuff or Hustler Racer. And then Snowdrift is nice just for moving around fast. And then Company Man's and Icebreaker Victory Rush for the gun stuff. For the passives on this, you want to go mag size, area damage, move speed, weapon type, elemental damage, just anything that's good. And then for like the accompaniment stuff, crit damage, fire rate, mag size, and even gun damage just for fight for your life is really good. I probably mainly look for crit damage and then good passes like with like AoE, but that's about it unless you want to go for a really good one. And then the skill tree is pretty weird, so we'll start with the blue tree. We'll see we don't go death follows close. This is to open up skill points to go to boom enhance and armament flint. We go the violent momentum, violent speed combo for that great gun damage, salvation. We have drone delivery for if we swap to drone here. We have cool hand for reload speed. I like to max it out, but you don't need to. You can put these points between cool hand, violent violence, and playing dirty. I have 3 violent violence and 1 playing dirty. I only have 1 point for the minimum of using it for bossing. You could put more points in and use the Seeing Dead with single pellet guns, but I wouldn't really recommend it. It's one of the very few niches Seeing Dead has now, but I might as well bring it up. But I really like having violent violence, but I also like having reload speed more, so we have priority into violent violence. Then we go 1 point into good misfortune, and then we stop there. We don't go any Cold War, but you could also use that if you want to do some Cold War swapping stuff. But yeah, that's the only reason we don't go Cold War here, is I'd rather have some other stuff. And then what I like to go is static field, at least for the minimum for the recharging shields. And then Vados is really good for getting movement speed and fire rate. That fire rate can really come in handy, the same with that movement speed. It's really good to just use and then get boosted up and just do a lot more damage. You could also go Boomstay and have a URAD Guardian Angel to have as a fight for your life scenario, and swap to it if you're in fight for your life and then point through on an enemy, and it should do some okay damage. And then we go to red tree for boom enhance. This is to use clone as aggro draw. This is honestly the best survivability option. Clone is a lot better than all-rounder, so that's why we go all the way down to boom enhance to make it extra good, while we're still getting good stuff like Supersonic Man, an extra point from pocket full of grenades, and then you get the boom enhance, so you're not really wasting any skills. 3 Fray Newtonness for mag size. We have borrowed time. We have duct tape mod for the splash immunity. Fractal fries for clone throwing grenade. If you do end up using Seeing Dead, then clone will throw these grenades a lot more, which will be really good just for a lot more debuff or aggro relief from Mesmer. It's Piss. Donnybrook for some nice gun damage, and then the health regen. We don't have clone doing damage here, so we're not taking this for clone boost. Have quick breather for recharging shield. This will, when you swap, this will recharge your and clone shields, and then also heal clone. This is really important as you want to pay attention to clone's health in really high dense areas like the Malawan takedown bridge, where there's tons of fire everywhere, and that's where I really like to use this. Pocket full of grenades just to help keep up boom enhance. Old U for getting out of fight for your life, and then Supersonic Man for getting a lot more movement speed, especially good for when we're going stuff with violent momentum focus. Then we go which one's real for better aggro draw. Clone shooting at enemies will draw their aggro, but this one just helps keep it more. And if you're under fire, you can swap with clone and then hopefully grab some more aggro draw. And then doppelbanger if we need to blow up clone to replace it. We don't go any green tree because we are going to Armin Flint, which takes some skill points, and then also boom enhance. And then we wouldn't be able to get all the way down here if we wanted to get blue capstone, but we don't really need death follows close. It is good, but if you have good enough passives and anointments, it should be fine. Like, I don't have any damage struggles on it here, even though I do have perfect gear. You definitely don't need all of it for content. It would be nice getting all-rounder, but again, it's all-rounder is just there for survivability, and if you need survivability, you'd much rather want to go digiclone. It is still nice for certain barrier stuff like the barrier crit and also the redistributor chaining stuff, so that's why we still have it. And it can also be good for some nice amp damage, for like some double dipping stuff, or not double dipping stuff, just like some launcher stuff, just good for amp. And then purple tree, we mainly go arm in flint, so we have access to the status effect stuff, but it's also really good if you have cryo guns for auto freezing enemies to take advantage of Icebreaker. And then also if you're ADSing and crit an enemy with colder shoulder, then you will have those enemies freezing. You want to go mana focus for accuracy and handling, Headsman's Hands for crit damage, commitment for gun damage, mainly action skill cooldown rate. We have fugitive to shoot and sprint, very important. Domino effect for the fire rate and reload speed. The critting will be possible with colder shoulder, and then also clone if it crits. And then we have our racer for racer builds, and it's also just good for gun builds in general. And we have sheer will, just 1 point to get down the tree, but the cooldown rate is nice for second action skills, as the stacking cooldown does not affect Mantis, so it's there for like clone, drone, and barrier. And then arm in flint, as I said, is good for the status effects and just auto applying it, because arm in flint is a double dipping status effect skill. And then it also gives good V2 damage, which is really nice. And then we go proliferation for the extra charges, just so we can shoot more and then get more stacks of borrowed time and supersonic man. I hope you guys enjoyed the build video. I wasn't sure how much I was going to like this build, but it's honestly really fun just to do some quick gear swaps and have a new build right there. I also love the uniqueness in the skill tree to allow this type of build while still being super strong in all the scenarios. Again, you can find the save file in my Discord, which will be linked down below, as well as my other socials. If you haven't, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.